Hi, McGill.
Hello.
Hello.
Bonjour, hi.
Apa kabar?
Good.
Hi everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Bonjour, hi.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour.
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 Unity.
Compassion.
Humanisme.
Ingenuity.
Adaptability.
Collaboration.
Solidarity.
Empathy.
Commitment.
Understanding. Supportive.
Support.
Flexible.
Intuitive.
Determined.
Determination. Perseverance.
The perseverance of my fellow students at McGill has been astounding.
Resilience, adaptability, and generosity.
Resilience.
People have shown remarkable resilience in the face of this global pandemic. To find our way through this crisis, be compassionate, be kind, and be empathetic.
Be kind to yourself.
You have the privilege of being a part of such an amazing community, and it's important to look out for each other and stay strong.
When we are determined and support each other as a community, we can face big challenges.
No matter what happens in life, we all can adapt, even though it might seem hard at first.
Même si nous nous sentons seuls, n'oublions pas que nous sommes tous ensemble.
We are going to get through this.
Ça ira mieux.
Stay safe, stay positive.
We'll get through this together.
Hi, everyone. So, congratulations to everyone for joining the McGill family. We are so excited to both be here with you today and also to think about your arrival to our university, no matter where you're coming from in Quebec. Some of you might be just down the road from McGill. Some of you might be in Rimouski. Wherever you're coming from, we're going to be excited to see you here. This year, McGill's welcoming 8,000 incoming students, and nearly 5,000 of them come from across Canada. So we're a giant community, we're a big family. My name is Chris Buttle, I'm an associate provost. You don't need to know what that is. It's basically an administrator, and I play a role in trying to make sure that your experience at McGill is a good one, and you'll see me around campus when you come, and you'll get to know me. I'm really excited to be here, not only as an administrator at McGill, but also as a McGill parent. One of my children is going into their second year at university, and they went through the CEGEP system, so I have a lot of direct experience related to what it means to come to McGill as a McGill parent as well. So those parents on the call today or on the webinar today, we're happy to have you here also. We recognize that it's a really different time to be thinking about a transition to university, and it's challenging when we're living in a pandemic and there's a lot of unknowns. And for so many new students, that idea of moving on to university has you have a certain vision of what it might look like. And we know it's going to be different this year, and it will be different than what you may have expected 6 or 8 months ago. But I tell you, despite the challenges, McGill is still McGill, and we're definitely going to have you on a long journey with us that's going to last several years, and it's going to be a great experience, even though the fall will look a little bit different than what you might have expected. You're coming from a region, from Quebec, a province that has obviously such a strong connection to McGill. Over 17,000 of your peers are currently students at McGill, and about 120,000 alumni live near or in Montreal. So even though you're just at the beginning of your experience, you'll find that McGill will give you not only a stellar education and amazing staff and instructors, but a real sense of community and, of course, a career. McGill's going to be a launch pad for you when you think about the next phase of your career, whether it's going on to graduate school, whether it's continuing in a job in Canada or Quebec, or even overseas. You're going to have incredible opportunities. So we are going to just start in. Obviously, I'm not alone as a panelist here. There's some great people here to help us through a lot of your questions today. And what we're going to do is begin with a short presentation from Gilbert Lynn, who's going to wave to you right now, and from our campus life and engagement team. And then we're going to dive into a Q&A session with our panelists. And I want to introduce the other people on the panel as well. But first, let Gilbert say a quick hello.
Hi everyone, so excited to be here with you today. Most of you probably seen me already, pre-registration orientation, so I hope you're not annoyed yet. I'm going to be popping up all summer to help you with your transition to McGill. So hi everyone, excited to be here.
And I'm going to go counterclockwise in my screen. Next we have Benjamin Rudsky, who's a student in the Faculty of Science. And Benjamin, you told me what your program was. Why don't you say hello and tell us what program you're in now, just for our listeners.
Hi, so I am going into my U3 year in honors computer science and biology with a minor in math.
Great, thanks for being here today. And we have a duo coming to us as well. Claudia Beliveau is a young alumni because she graduated with her BSc in 2018 and is now doing her PhD in neuroscience, which is an amazing area of study as well. And joining Claudia is her mother, Antonia de Paula, who's a proud McGill parent. So I'll let the two of you say hello as well.
Hi there, guys. Hope you're all well.
Hello. Glad to have you here, and we're glad to answer your questions.
That's great. Okay, so again, congratulations to everyone on becoming part of the McGill family. We're really excited about this, and we're really hoping that today we'll answer a lot of your questions, and we'll actually help you walk through some of the anxieties that you might have about coming to McGill. And I think we'll now turn things over to Gilbert. He has a presentation to give, and then we'll get started with the Q&A session.
Great, thank you so much, Chris. Before we do that, let's see the poll results to your kind of icebreaker question. Marula, if you can put that up. Okay, so hand on heart, are you wearing PJs right now? Never. 100% yes. Business on top, PJs on the bottom. I literally changed a few minutes ago. You know what? I think I'm option number 4 for that. All right, great. So let's launch our next quick poll. If you want to do that, Rula. All right, so, we want to make sure that we're structuring the presentation the way you want it. So, I just wanted to ask this quick question before we get started. What would you like to learn today? So I'll give you, a few seconds, 10 to 20 seconds to fill this out quickly. And then this will also, for our presenters, panelists to know, kind of what questions or what information we should be sharing. So we'll give it about 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, put your answers in, hit submit. All right, let's close the poll right now. All right, and can we share the results of that? All right, there we go. So preparatory ideas for the fall semester came out on top. Tips from current students and parents, of course, we'll be covering this, support services, to learn new things. So awesome. So thank you very much for participating in the poll. And let me just share my presentation right now. All right, so again, welcome everybody. I hope everyone is staying safe and well during this time. My name is Gilbert. I am the new student advisor at Campus Life and Engagement. So I'm kind of going to go through this presentation in a non-traditional manner. Before I get into kind of like the meat of the presentation, I just want to introduce our organizers this year, so the McGill Alumni. So I feel like when people think about the McGill Alumni, they think about it's just, for graduate students. But despite the name, the McGill Alumni Association is not just for graduates, it's for everybody. There are services and supports in place to help you succeed here at McGill. So they plan events like this one, as well as provide parents with opportunities to connect with other parents. So please go click on their website and discover the many ways the McGill Alumni Association can help you. All right, so also I just wanted to mention, that we also work with, we work with the McGill Alumni Association on this event. And so who is Campus Life and Engagement? So our mission here is to really facilitate new and students' integration into the McGill community, to support your university academic and personal success, promote and encourage co-curricular involvement, and connect you to the wonderful opportunities that develop your capacity to make positive change on campus and in your communities. To sum that up, we're really just here to support you. You can check out our websites below. I do have to mention that we have a focus on your first year. So we're kind of like your first year office, so to speak. So we're actually called the first year office prior to 2012. This is what I like to call the McGill student life cycle. So from the time you apply to McGill to the time you attend orientation week and go through, your amazing years here at McGill, we support you at different life stages. But I do want to mention that we do have a focus on your first year and make sure that you have a seamless transition into the university. Okay. So instead of giving you some sort of, the traditional support and services presentation, I kind of recruited some helpers. So some helpers that have gone through your experience and have accessed those services before, and kind of using their narratives as tips to kind of show you the amazing support club services that are available to you at McGill. So I want to introduce you to Caitlin. Caitlin is a recent grad, so she actually just graduated this year with a Bachelor of Science degree. And this is what Caitlin has to say. So when I was in first year, I got involved with Residence Council. We planned events such as coffee houses, socials to help build community in our building. Residence life also offers tons of opportunities to get involved in the McGill community and make new friends. My favorite event from my first year was an inter-residence dodgeball tournament. I was always able to get involved with the Science Undergraduate Society in my first year as an SUS rep to SMU, which led to tons of opportunities in my first year, in the rest of my undergrad. So get involved. So just to break down what Caitlin said. So Caitlin mentioned the Student Society of McGill University, which is your student union. Within it, you can find numerous, I believe, over 300 different clubs and services available to you, as well as a first-year council that you may be interested in to get involved with and represent your fellow first-year students. I know that we're in the Quebec send-off, so there might be less, students joining us in residences, but there's also residence life here at McGill. You can get involved as a floor rep, get involved in residence councils, many different ways if you do live in residences. Caitlin also mentioned intramural sports, so dodgeball. So I feel like a lot of the times when we think about athletics and recreation, we think about those varsity sports, those scary sports that people compete in, and it's a lot of time, time spent on those. There's also a lot of recreational activities, so competitive sports, but played recreationally, at McGill as well. So be sure to check that out. As well, Caitlin mentioned the Science Undergraduate Society. So there are different undergraduate societies for different faculties. So if you're in different faculties, be sure to check out your undergraduate society. So the Arts Undergraduate Society, Management Undergraduate Society, excuse me. And within those undergraduate societies, you'll also find, representatives for first-year students. So the Freshman Undergraduate Society, for example. So be sure to check those out as well. All right, the next student I want to introduce you to is Katya. So Katya is a current student in her U2 year doing a Bachelor of Arts. So Katya says, there are tons of ways to get yourself prepared to enter the workforce at McGill. I got great advice from meeting with a career advisor at CAPS, which stands for Career Planning Services. Since I'm an art student, I could also secure an internship through the Arts Oasis in my second year of studies. I've also been building my resume by getting involved in extracurriculars that polish up practical skills like editing for one of the campus newspapers, the McGill Tribune, and attending Skills 21 workshops. Lastly, I've always struggled with budgeting. So if you are like me, be sure to visit the SSAO office, which is the Scholarship and Student Aid office, and meet with a finance counselor. So for Katya accessed Arts Oasis, which is the Arts Student Affairs Office. So in each faculty, you can find a Student Affairs Office, and within those Student Affairs Offices, you'll find your faculty advisors there. So apart from, the people you see today, those people will be your new besties. They will help you plan out your degree, support you through your studies. As well as there's also internship opportunities that you may be able to take for credit. Katya also mentioned Skills 21, which is a skills development program that is made available to you at McGill. So be sure to check that out as well. If you're looking at, practicing your leadership skills, take workshops on equity, wellness, it's all available to you through Skills 21. Katya also accessed the Scholarship and Student Aid Office. And I think when we think about scholarships and student aid, we really just think about scholarships and student aid. But what people don't know is there are resourceful and skilled finance counselors who can help you come up with a budget plan. There's also a Frugal Scholars program, again, to help you manage your money here at McGill, as well as the work study program for students who are on maximum financial aid, where you can work and study at the same time here at McGill University. Katya also mentioned the career planning service. So you get to meet your career advisor. And the one thing I always get is, should I meet with my career advisor that early? My answer is absolutely yes. Meet with them, get your CV checked. You can also talk to them about your career goals, and they may be able to help you get there. So be sure to check them out. Under CAPS, you can also find My Future, which is a job posting software where you can find all the available jobs available to you as a student, as well as My Involvement. Is administered by a Career Planning Services office. And in it, you'll also find your co-curricular record, which is a record that documents all of your extracurricular activities. All right, so the next student I want to introduce you to is Sam. So Sam is actually a PhD student in her second year, and she's also a TA. So this is her advice to you. I would 100% recommend going to your prof and TA's office hours. They are always willing to help you succeed and answer your questions. They are an amazing resource if you are looking for help. You can also get course-specific help for certain classes at tutoring services. As well, be sure to check out the McGill Writing Center for general help on essays, assignments, and try to make connections with other classes, form group chats and study groups. These little teams help me stay on track with coursework and were a great way to make new friends. Also, visit the Office for Students with Disabilities. They can help you with academic accommodations and offer awesome study skills workshops. So for Sam accessed the McGill Writing Center, which Sam was saying, they can help you formulate ideas, help you with your assignments, essay writing. She also accessed the Office for Students with Disabilities, where you can meet with an Access Services Advisor to find out about academic accommodations available to you. As well, they have a vast, just great bank of learning resources as well. And it doesn't have to just be for students with disability, it's for all different students. As part of McGill OSD, so for Office for Students with Disabilities, there's also tutorial services. And this is a trick or something that you need to know. New students get 1 hour of free tutoring, so make sure you access that. There's also peer tutoring from your student associations. And again, these programs are well thought out, well vetted as well. They don't just take any tutors. The tutors have done exceptionally well in their courses. Lastly, if you're looking at connecting with your peers, be sure to access some peer programs through the Students Helping Students website, as well as the Peer Support Center. There are active listener, non-judgmental, confidential, one-on-one active listeners. If you're feeling a little down or just want to talk to someone, they offer those services to you as well. All right, last but not least, this is Kirsten. So Kirsten is a BA student in her U3 year. So Caitlin says, hi, my name is, Kirsten. Hi, my name is Kirsten. I would definitely suggest for all first year students to take advantage of different programs McGill has to offer to support your mental and physical well-being. I found going to the Art Hive to create crafts and draw with friends when we had free time a great way to connect with others and de-stress. McGill also has a great fitness center with tons of equipment, which helped me clear my mind during exam season, since I usually get extra stressed during that period. I also found participating in the McGill Yoga Club free yoga sessions in collaboration with the McGill Office of Religious and Spiritual Life to be very beneficial to maintaining my mental health. Morsel even has free online meditation guide, which I highly suggest everyone go check out. Also, check out Community for commuter students. So for Kirsten accessed the Art Hive, which is part of the Student Wellness Hub, a one-stop shop for all wellness-related activities. So part of the Wellness Hub, you can find our health promotion team. You'll also be able to find counselors, clinicians, as well as local wellness advisors who are located in your student affairs offices. And they basically help you, they are trained clinicians to help you out throughout your time here at McGill. As well, Campus Life and Engagement offers support for our commuter students. So there's commuter orientation, as well as community, Commuters of McGill, a program offered by our office by our upper year commuter students. If you're looking to get involved as a first year commuter student, make sure you attend our Junior Connectors program. Kirsten also mentioned the McGill Office of Religious and Spiritual Life, as well as the Yoga Club and the Fitness Center. Okay, so last but not least, I also want to offer you some advice. So I'm also a McGill grad. I graduated a few years ago, and this is what I have to say to you. We are here to support you. We are here to support you. And please note that there's a place for each and every one of you here at McGill, and be sure to access our wonderful services and resources. So I just want to mention a few first-year related supports. One of them is McGill 101, our online orientation platform, which all of you should have access to now. Our pre-arrival webinars, so different webinars on different themes and different topics. Our pre-arrival emails, so we write to you every week on different themes. If you haven't been getting those, be sure to email us at firstyear@mcgill.ca and we'll make sure you get those. We also oversee the Entering Class Facebook group. We're also the ones that oversee Orientation Week, and we work with your Frosh Coordinators to plan Frosh. Engage McGill is a one-stop shop to all engagement activities related. We have support for our first generation student, our commuter student, as well we support our Francophone students. So for students who are studying English for this first time, there is a Francophone student support manager here located within Campus Life and Engagement. We support our mature and transfer students. As well, we work with our wonderful colleagues and alumni to develop new programming for you to connect you to all the alumni. So these are the resources and links. I know this will be made available to you, so be sure to check it out. And thank you very much to listen me blab on for the last 13 minutes. Just so you know, if you have any questions, anything that you need, be sure to contact our office. Our information is here. Parents, I just want to just put this on your mind. There is a Facebook group for you as well, so be sure to join that and find out ways you can support your new McGill student. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass this back to Chris.
Wonderful. So thanks very much, Gilbert. I hope everyone got a lot out of that. One of the things that's clear is there's a lot to take in and a lot of different opportunities for you. And I know it's a bit daunting because there's just so many things available, but you're going to find your way. And it might not be right in the first few months. It might be 6 months or 8 months later. Some students don't even aren't that interested in a club or other activities until maybe after their first year. There's really no rule book for it. You have to find your own way, but there's lots available for you for sure. So I think what we're going to do now is really get into the questions. And we had some questions that were sent by many of you in advance, so we have a good sense of some of the things you're curious about. So I think we're going to start with some of the questions we already have, but you can ask questions during this session by writing into the chat box that you should all be able to see. And if you write a question in there, we'll do our best to get to the question within the next half hour or so. Let me just see, and I think our panelists have already introduced themselves, so I think we're just going to get started. Everybody okay with that? Thumbs up, right on. Okay. So actually, I think the first question is one that I might answer. It's really about the fall semester, and it's really top of mind for all the incoming students and returning students, and that's really asking, what will the fall semester look like? And if you've been reading the newspapers and the websites and you're realizing that this situation with what the classroom is going to look like, it seems to be changing a lot when you listen to certain press releases, but I want to make it clear to everyone here. McGill made a commitment on the 11th of May, I believe it was, that we were going to offer our courses primarily through remote delivery methods. This means online. So for new students, that's the way that your courses will be offered. You will be able to stay where you are now, or in an apartment if you're going to be living in Montreal or whatever, or in residence if you're going to be living in residence, and you'll be able to study remotely. So that's really what it's going to look like. The reason we said primarily is because there are some areas of study where there might be some in-person activities. And I'll give an example, like in the health sciences with clinical type work, clinical type teaching activities, those might be in person. But for incoming students, it's really going to be through remote delivery. We're doing that because we want to absolutely prioritize everyone's safety and well-being. And while the buildings will be accessible to you in some way, shape, or form, we don't want to make commitments about teaching and then have to change that later on. So we really want to make sure you know that your classes will be available online. That being said, so I mentioned a second ago, there might be opportunities to come to campus. Of course, you're welcome to come to McGill campus. McGill campus is not closed, quite the opposite. Of course, we're open. And when we get to the fall and you come to campus, you'll be able to explore the campus, find the different buildings, and some buildings will absolutely be there for you, and there will be some activities for you in person. What that looks like, we're still working out right now. It's absolutely likely going to be things like skills development workshops. Gilbert mentioned those. He mentioned Skills 21. Some of the other services to students will likely be available in person. And there might be certain components of your class that if you're in the Montreal area, you might be able to take part in those. But you won't be disadvantaged if you can't come to Montreal and aren't on campus. So I really wanted to make that very clear. We want to definitely support engagement with our incoming students, and we're very, very aware that part of your experience is connecting with your fellow classmates and being on campus. So we're going to do our best to make sure you can do a little bit of that, but also being safe and making sure that your classes are available online. And that actually leads to the second question. I think maybe I'll ask Benjamin and then Claudia this question. And I'm sure many of the listeners realize that you had to start learning online as well in March. And so for the students that were at McGill, Benjamin and Claudia, what was your experience like when that switched right away in March and you suddenly classes that were in person became online? Benjamin, maybe we'll start with you.
So it's quite an interesting transition because I'd gone from having so many years of classes in person to just like practically overnight going to classes online, and some professors managed to really pull it off well. Some of them really quickly managed to learn how to have live interaction with students, even have students draw on the slides while they're presenting. For other classes, the were pre-recorded, so you could watch them at your own leisure. And also what was nice was not having to spend an hour heading down to campus and coming home each day. But it was a bit of a different experience because you weren't socializing in the same way. But for some of my classes, large groups of us still did get together online. We had Skype calls and we did keep in touch, so we weren't completely isolated. And I had friends in all of us, managed to stay in touch with them, communicate with them. If I was having trouble with something, I'd ask them for help. And so we still managed to maintain really good connections.
And for myself, so this semester, I actually only had one class, and it was a lab class, as well as a theory class. So my lab was actually transferred to online, so on Zoom. So that was kind of interesting because it was actually a class where we look at human brains. So it was kind of pictures instead of seeing the real thing. So that was, honestly, I think that was the only drawback I saw of having classes online, is that I didn't actually get to see it in person. But it was, you know, they did the best they could in the situation that we had, and I still learned a lot. And then finally, like I had my final exam online through Zoom, which was kind of cool. Like our prof was just, you know, like there watching us take our exam like on our computer. So it was an experience. I think it's pretty cool also to say, like, you know, we still did university during a global pandemic, which I think is, you know, it shows our resilience. And as McGill students, you will see how resilient you are. And so, yeah, it was definitely just something you have to adapt to. But I did also like that I did not have to travel 35 minutes to get to campus for my classes. So it was honestly kind of great. I was like wearing a blanket, you know, and like pajamas while I was in class. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and I did want to mention that you know, those students that are coming to McGill, you need to realize that this is a temporary thing, right? Like, we know that we're going to be online in the fall, but we're putting a lot of effort into making sure it's of high quality and using a lot of different tools. Zoom is one thing, but we're also looking at all kinds of virtual lab and simulation type software. And there's lots of different ways that profs are looking at doing interactive things on using the different tools available. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, but you also know, we know that a big part of education is the in-person experience as well, and that was going to come back for sure. So don't, it's hard to say don't worry. Of course, we're all worried and anxious, but we'll get there for sure. So thank you both for that. Maybe I'll go to Gilbert with a question about Frosh Week. So we get that a lot, and a lot of students, no matter where they're coming from, are curious about what Frosh might look like. And Frosh is a part of the introduction to the university experience. Maybe Gilbert, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I just want to again reassure everyone, we're doing everything we are in our power to look at how you can create those connections online. So with that being said, Orientation Week and Frosh will be held virtually this year. Your Frosh coordinators, I've actually just talked to them this morning. They're coming up with some amazing programs. So for folks who are interested, be sure to visit their pages in the coming weeks. They are right now collecting feedback from all of you. So submit your, what ideas that you may have, all of that stuff. Let them know about it. They will make sure that you are well introduced to the amazing upper year students here at McGill, as well as to your peers. So stay tuned for more information coming out, but I just wanted to say that Frosh and Orientation Week will be online, will be virtually given this year.
Can I add something here?
Of course.
So, I just want to point out that I made all of my best friends in my Frosh Week, and I also met Gilbert, who was my boss for like 2 of my years at McGill, at Discover McGill. So he was actually my leader. So I just really want to, tell people, go to Frosh, even if it's online. You're going to make connections that you would have never thought you were going to make, or that you never thought would be useful to you. But then, in your 3rd year at McGill, maybe you're going to be hired by, the new manager at Clay. So yeah, I really think everyone should get involved with Frosh.
And I'll just mention, oh yeah, go ahead, Benjamin.
Sorry, and I just want to add, I didn't do Frosh. Don't do it, or if you don't meet anyone, don't worry, you'll still meet friends.
Yeah, and some people are wondering what Frosh is, and that's actually something I should have defined at the start. So Frosh is basically a way to introduce new students to the university through a series of social events and orientation related activities. It's organized by students for students, and it's just an introduction to the university and to Montreal. So many of you might be interested in this if you're not from the Montreal area, just to learn a little bit about the city as well. It's not a required thing to do, but a lot of students like to do it. So that's really something up to you. And there are also the orientation activities and there's also activities related to academic orientation. So thinking about how to get to know your program and ways to navigate that. So okay, so I think we're going to go. So I'm a parent of a McGill student, and Tony's a parent of a McGill student as well. So we do have a question related to how does a parent support a McGill student? So any thoughts on that, Antonia? And I might add my own thoughts as well.
Well, this one's number 3. So I've had one daughter who's gone through the system. She's got her master's in chemistry and now is a chiropractor in BC. Claudia's doing a PhD in neuroscience, and I have another daughter who's coming in as a master's in nursing. So the way I handle it is basically be there. I always try to make sure I'm there during stressful times, studying for exams, writing a paper, coming out of an exam and thinking that they failed, and then ending up getting an A or something. So just trying to take some of that pressure off of them. Be there, shoulders, listen, whatever they want to say, whatever they want to say, let them say it. Sometimes it comes out wrong because of what they're going through, but eventually, things get better. I try not to interfere with them in the way, so if they are looking for something to do at McGill or way of doing it, I will guide, but I will not step in to do it for them, because I feel they have to learn their way through the system. They can get, you know, the wall. It happens every now and then, but you'll always find someone to help you, and they learn to be sufficient, self-reliant, and just come to me and say, "Oh, I did," and you're going, you know, but be there for them when they need it, and step back and watch them find their own path.
Wow, that's great advice. I totally agree. The one piece I might add is I think it's easy to put on more stress on your kid as well. Say, how'd you do? You know, we hope you did well, and they're stressed enough. All you need to do is be there and be supportive. And the academics are tough at McGill, so it's just a matter of, I think, really being supportive and being open and caring. Those are great words. Claudia, how did she do?
I mean, I think amazing. But I also want to point out that we didn't always get A's.
No.
As long as they did their best.
Exactly.
That was the only thing. That was your best.
No, that's right. And a grade is it holds a lot of weight for some people, but it doesn't need to. It's really about the learning and what you take away from it. I really did poorly in my first year and managed to keep on. I've never left a university. I've always worked at one. So you know, there's different career paths. You don't have to have A's to do wonderful things. So that's a really important point too. Benjamin, how about when you think about your support network? What did your family or friends do well to support you?
Yeah, firstly, they're always really understanding when I'm extremely stressed, and I get extremely stressed very often. Always try to make sure to reinforce the idea that it's not only about the marks, really, it's about the experience. It's about, okay, you've had this tough exam, you've had this tough course, but what can you take away from it? How can you use that to get better? And also, Korean cooking services. Those are good.
Absolutely. Okay,
I'm
that's
so
great.
appreciative. I live at home.
Yeah, that's great. So I might address this next question. We have one about what the winter term might look like. So I think a lot of students are thinking beyond the fall term because we know that the classes are going to be through remote delivery in the fall. I know people are also anxious about the winter term, and I think the question we got was saying, well, I'm worried about doing my entire first year online, and that's definitely a lot. I totally understand that. I think we're certainly hoping that things are better and are in a good shape so we can have a more regular looking semester in the winter term. That's the hope, and that's what we're planning for. Of course, we have to follow public health directives, which we will always do. We'll always prioritize safety and well-being, but our hope is that the winter term will be more of an in-person experience than in terms of the academics and what might happen in the fall. But we just can't we don't have a crystal ball, so we can't make a prediction about that right now. Okay, I think I'll go to the next question, which is about how do I meet other people if my classes are online? And related to that, how do I get involved, and should I get involved in other sorts of things outside of the academics? And Gilbert, you spoke a little bit about this before, but maybe I'll actually start with Benjamin first, and then maybe Claudia, and then we'll go to you, Gilbert, for any last thoughts on that piece as well.
Okay, so I'll give the very nerdy answer. So so some of your classes will have discussion boards. Participate pretty actively in those, especially if any of you are in computer science. For all their courses, they have online discussion boards that the professors will answer somewhat regularly, but really they'll often to see if other students will answer first. And also just even through less academic related means, the entering class Facebook group is a great way to meet other people, to see who else asks a lot of questions, who else gives a lot of answers, see if anyone else has overlap interests, and you can meet a lot of people that way.
Yeah, so I'll go next. So I totally agree, like get involved in your class discussions, and you'll usually find people who have similar ideas as you, or interests, or backgrounds and things like that. Secondly, I would also say that there are going to be clubs and activities happening online. I'm part of my student council for my program, and I know that we're already planning social events online through Zoom and things like that for our incoming students. So I I'm 100% sure there will be at least one club that interests you that will have something happening online, whether that be, you know, a chat room, or, you know, we have like talent shows, or we have ways to get involved in the community through different clubs. So I definitely think you will have opportunities to, you know, first of all, build your CV by getting involved in these clubs, as well as meeting other people with like interests as yours. Do I think you should get involved? Yes. Do you need to get involved in your first semester? Absolutely not. I actually did no extracurriculars my first semester because I was very stressed about, you know, like getting a 4.0 GPA. Which I didn't do even with no extracurricular activities. So then I decided in my second semester, okay, now's the time to get involved. I feel more comfortable. I know how McGill works. So I actually started volunteering with the off-campus and commuter student support group from Campus Life and Engagement. And yeah, that was just a really great period. I made, you know, I made 5 friends from there who I still actually interact with. You know, I've graduated now 3 years ago, yeah, and I'm still interacting with them. So I definitely think you should get involved at some point, but you definitely don't have to get involved right off the bat. You know, find your home first at McGill.
For sure, yeah. Again, fabulous kind of suggestions from Benjamin and Claudia. The only thing I want to add is we are working with your student societies to make sure that, you know, clubs, services, involvement opportunities can be done through online. And there are some really exciting ones. I've been a part of a few focus groups on ways they want to bring it online, and the creativity is, you know, just off the charts. Everyone is just finding ways to connect with other people. And the other thing I want to plug is there will be a Getting Involved webinar offered through our pre-arrival webinar series through Campus Life and Engagement. So actually, just to give you a little bit of preview, on Monday, June 29th, you'll be receiving an email about more webinar offerings coming out about ways to get involved, build social connections, and all of that. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Gilbert. I was just reading the chat, trying to multitask. We're getting through lots of questions. The next one is actually, I just wanted to add one piece. I think a lot of you are coming from CEGEPs, or have and I do want to let you know that I think, and I get this question a lot from my child's friends as well that are thinking of McGill, is how well does the CEGEP prepare you for the McGill experience, and what's that transition like? I'd say it prepares you very well, and it's a very, very good transition. And I find that we're very lucky in Quebec to have the CEGEP system, and I think it really does prepare students well for the McGill experience. But it kind of relates to the general question of academic success, and what are any tricks or tips around succeeding in academics? Because that's really why you're coming to McGill. You're coming for a program that interests you, whether it's in arts or education or in science or at McDonald campus. So I guess maybe I'll start with actually maybe Antonia, if you have any thoughts around supporting around academic success for a child, and then maybe we'll go to Claudia and then Benjamin around some tips or tricks around succeeding academically.
Okay, now I don't know how the girls would do it, but coming from psychology and being at McGill for a number of years, I find that students who meet with their professors, get to know them and talk to them, and the TAs, I think one of the students mentioned that, number one, it's a good way of doing it. You'll be more comfortable in the course. If you have any questions, you won't feel bad about, going up, maybe you'll think I'm stupid or something. Get that out of your head. Everyone's there to guide you through the system and make sure you succeed. Advisors were mentioned. That is great. One group of people that get left out are the admin staff. Admin staff in every department are there to help everyone. Undergrads, grads, professors, visiting professors, they're all there. If there's someone who comes in and needs help, do not be afraid to go up to the front counter or anyone in the department and just say, hi, I'm looking for, or I need to find this. They've been there long enough to be able to guide you. And we all like to listen, all right? So someone needs to talk to someone for any reason whatsoever and can't find someone in particular, sit down in front of us and talk to us. We are there for you. So that's my learning experience that I got.
Also, in terms of academics, when I have long hours studying, I'm really lucky to live at home, and she cooks me food and puts it in front of me. And I can never thank her enough for that. Also, maybe if you're not going to be living with your parents, I don't know, maybe they could like Uber Eats you some food or give you a good recipe that you can cook yourself, maybe through FaceTime with them. I know my friends do that as well. So that's like just for moral support.
Invite them over.
Yeah. And then for academic success, I would say my #1 tips and tricks is realize that you won't always get it right. And that's okay, because I think Benjamin said it before, like you will learn from your mistakes. That's part of being a student. You will, try, maybe you'll get a 98 and then you'll be like, wow, I did so good. And then the next thing you'll be like, oh, okay, I got like a 78. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to work harder for the next thing so that I can get another 98 and average it out. You have to realize that there is a learning curve. Your first semester at McGill may not go the way that you want it to go, but that's okay. It's going to be a learning experience. You will succeed once you perfect your own recipe. So you have to learn your own study strategies. Do you study best alone? Do you study best with friends? Do you study best like with your TA because they have office hours that you can go to? And you won't really know that until you try. Another thing is during CEGEP, I studied a very different way than I did in university. In CEGEP, you can cram it all in one night before the exam. That's how I, like to do it. That didn't really work for me at McGill. You have to try to keep up with your courses throughout the semester because you have a lot going on. It's a little harder. It's a lot harder to cram because in university, you are learning a lot of material. And you will probably have more than 4 classes a semester if you're taking a large course load. So don't be too hard on yourself. That's my biggest study tip. If you're procrastinating a little bit, it's okay. Do better tomorrow. If you don't do better tomorrow, it's okay. You'll do better the next day.
Benjamin, anything to add?
Okay. Yeah, so my #1 tip, and I'm going to sound like a real curmudgeon for saying this, but go to class. It may be tempting if everything is recorded to just stay home, not go to class when it's, and then just catch up on the recordings later, but the recordings pile up, and I'm a bit unique in this way, but I find it actually takes me longer than it would take for me to just sit in class and take notes. And also, I need to explain who I'm, that really annoying student who sits in the room, and my goal is to try to get as many professors as possible to know my name by the end of the semester. So interact with professors, really go to their office hours, ask them questions before class, during class, after class, send them emails if they answer questions by email. Again, if there are discussion boards, participate actively in them, ask questions, try to answer questions, or just read other people's questions because often other people have the same question as you. And tutorials. If your course has tutorials, go to them. The TAs are an excellent resource. Often you'll hear about the services where you can pay to get for an exam. Go on tutorials. And also, like was already mentioned, your academic advice is important. There have been sequences when, over the course of 2 weeks, I've gone to my academic advisor 4 times to try to figure out what's going on. And yeah, and also make sure to make friends. And you can't do this in the same way this year, but when things get normal again, talk to the people who you see, and also go and talk to people who you recognize from your classes. That really helps because then you can really get to know more people. I came in and there was one person who I knew in my program, but now I've met so many other people just based on people who I've been in so many classes with. So really get to know more people.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Those are all very wise words and words that I wish I'd listened to when I started university a long time ago. That's great. Thank you. I'm going to just answer a couple quick questions that came in. One of them was, how do you make sure you're registered for the right courses? And in that case, you're going to look at the e-calendar, look at your program guide, think you've done it right. You might want to check with an academic advisor if you're not sure. They're there to help you with course selection. And Minerva will become your friend. You'll get into that system and figure out how to register, how to look at your visual schedule builder, how to figure out where all the pieces fit together. You're not going to know all the details about your course quite yet. So if you're wondering about whether you need to buy any books or whether you need other supplies, those are going to come out with a course outline. And some instructors are being very proactive on preparing course outlines now because the fall will look a little bit different, but some of them you may not see till a little bit later in the summer. So you may not know all the information about course materials yet, but you really have to spend some time on Minerva. And it's like any kind of system, you got to just you figure it out, you work through it, but don't hesitate to reach out to your academic advisor if you have questions related to your courses in particular. But the information's there in the e-calendar and on the websites as well, but you probably might want to check with your academic advisor too. I did get a question for French-speaking students. Would you recommend writing papers in French or English, and how do you switch? How do you navigate that if you're comfortable writing papers or tests in French? I'm not sure whether Benjamin or Claudia want to take a stab at that one, or if you had friends or any experiences with that.
So I think. Oh, you can go ahead if you want.
No, go. No, sorry.
So from my understanding, at McGill, you can write your essays and exams in French, even if your class is in English. I don't see that being a problem, unless maybe there's like technical terms, but again, like if you're more comfortable with them in French and you think you're going to do better, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it'd be putting you in a disadvantage. Possibly that's something you'd like to discuss though with your prof or your TA, at the start of the semester, just to ensure that, that's okay in that class. I'm sure it is, but it's always good to just be, transparent with your prof and your TA, just to make sure that you're all on the same page. Do I personally know anyone that has done this? Actually, no. All my friends from France did decide to write everything in English, just because in the class you learn it in English, so then it's actually harder to relearn what you learned in English in French. So that's my opinion.
We have had students who have written their finals in French. They were short answer questions. And if the department knows that you're going to be writing in French, they make sure that there is either a grader or a TA who can use the rubric to correct the exams written by a French student.
Benjamin, anything to add?
I was just going to add that I think in every course outline it says that you can submit your work in French. I personally don't know anyone who has, but actually in one of my courses we had an assignment where we had to do peer review. My professor wanted to know and put out asking everyone if anyone was planning on submitting in French, just so that she could make sure that if anyone did submit in French, there could be people who would be able to peer review it in French.
Great. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, that's right. Unless you're taking a language class, students are able to submit in French or English. But a lot of students that are used to submitting work in French, it's okay to make that leap, and it's part of the process, and it's a very positive experience, and the instructors are very understanding that people are coming. We have so many different countries, people from internationally that come to McGill, and it's a process, right? Learning and writing in what may not be your first language. Okay, I know we're getting a little bit close to, Benjamin, one more comment to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that when you walk around on campus, you do hear quite a few conversations in French. So don't think that you're going to come to McGill that it's all unilingually Anglophone. I've had conversations with classmates in French. So really, we're still in Montreal. It's still very bilingual.
Absolutely, that's very, very true. So we're going to do one more quick question, and then we're going to ask our panelists for some sort of final thoughts. My last quick question is, what is the must-have McGill experience? What do new students definitely have to do when they come to McGill? If you had to think of one key thing that you'd recommend. I have my own ideas, but as a staff member at McGill, there's a lot of, I love walking up Mount Royal, and many of you that live in Montreal do this all the time, but that you can take a half hour if you have a break between studying and walk up and get some fresh air and enjoy that as well. That's something I love to do. But there's lots of neat things to do at McGill. Any thoughts, Benjamin, and then Claudia?
I don't know. I mean, this is going to sound a bit boring, but just around campus, explore, walk all the way up from the metro to McIntyre, and from McIntyre to Strathcona, get in all the walking, because that's going to be your life. And actually, that's what I miss most about not being at McGill. I don't get that long walk every morning.
Claudia, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, so I have like a point A and a point B. My point A is once, if you are coming to Montreal at some point this semester, or in winter or in your second year, whenever you are on campus, tell your new friends to meet you at the Roddick Gates for coffee or something. The Roddick Gates are McGill's main gates, and it's what you just do. You just meet at the Roddick Gates. And my point B is follow your passions. That's how you make your McGill experience yours. I joined the McGill Students for Geriatric Health Club because I love old people. And people find that weird and it's really niche, but there's other people that like it too. So really just follow your own passions and you will find your own path. And that's how you're going to have a great McGill experience.
Benjamin?
Another thing to add quickly, if you can, try to go to the Gulf Nature Reserve. It's beautiful. At Mont Saint-Hilaire, it is just really beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. And I was a professor at McDonald campus for 15 years before I took on some positions downtown. And it's also an incredibly beautiful campus with wonderful programs as well. And that's definitely a highlight as well. So we're at 6:25. I think and we never have enough time for these because there's so many great questions coming in and everyone's so curious, and it's been we've covered a lot of ground. But maybe first of all, I want to maybe get one very short last tip or piece of advice for students and parents as they're navigating their first year. I think we'll start with Antonia, then we'll go to Claudia, Benjamin, and then Gilbert.
Piece of advice. This is to the students. It's your time. It will fly. Those 3 years seem like a long time now. You're just starting, but trust me, they will fly. Parents, you know how time flies with your children. It's going to fly. Just like I said, be there for them and support them any way you can.
Have fun. And it's going to be stressful, but you're also going to have all of these pros that outweigh the stressful cons of being a university student, and it will be worth it, especially at McGill.
Just enjoy the experience. This is your first time being able to really learn in your area of interest and to not be distracted by other courses. You get to focus on what you want and make the most of that.
For me, it's reach out. Reach out if you are struggling. Reach out if there's anything that you need. Like Antonia was saying, your admin staff, all of us staff members here, everyone, we're here to help you succeed. So if you ever need anything, please do reach out, and we will do the best in our ability to help you succeed here.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add. You said it all. I think it's very true. McGill's a really, really great place with a really amazing community, and people are so intelligent and articulate, and it's very magical in the experience. And I know that, as I said at the start, we're in a challenging time, and there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of anxiety and a lot of worries, and I get that. It's really tough, but you need to know that your journey with us is more than one semester. It's going to be okay. It's going to be different, but it's still McGill, and the instructors that are giving you lectures and seminars and labs, they're McGill instructors. They're the same people. It's through a different format, but you're still going to get to know them, and you're going to get to know people and your classmates, and it's going to be a different experience, but it will definitely give you the stepping stone that you're expecting. It'll just be in a different way. You'll have a lot of great stories to tell your kids when you're doing webinars and sitting next to them in the future at some point. So there you go. So I think, and a big round of applause, yay, to our panelists. You're all wonderful, and thank you so much for taking part today. For the students that are listening, I hope you enjoyed learning about life and learning at McGill and what resources and things are there to help you. To the parents, I hear you, I feel you, I'm there with you. You're going to do fine as a parent because your kids are brilliant, because they are who they are, and you're there to support them and be a helping hand and cook the meals when you can and see them on FaceTime or on Zoom or whatever it is. Please look out for this recording, by the way, will be available and shared if you want to watch it again or refer it to other people. Look out for the invitation to join other networking events. And I know the on Brazen, I believe it's called, to connect with other McGillians, and also the Frosh coordinators will be reaching out as well. So there's also opportunities to connect with the Frosh side of things as it's coming up. And I'll just see if Gilbert had any last thoughts before we close out with a video. So we'll just see if Gilbert had anything else to add, or whether we're
No, so tomorrow we will be doing our Senka our virtual Senka with all of your Frosh coordinators. I believe the Zoom link has been sent out already, so you'll see me again tomorrow, like I was saying. Hope you don't get annoyed at me yet. I'll be here throughout your first year. I'm kind of like your first year uncle who's just helping you succeed.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Gilbert, and thanks everyone again. We're stay safe. À bientôt. We'll see you on campus in the fall, and it's going to be a really great experience. And we're so excited for you to join all of us. So we're going to finish with what's called an anthem video. You may have seen this before, but it's a great video, and we want to show that to finish off this send off. So take care, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Born from a will, made here by dreamers and risk takers, by makers and big thinkers. Through trial and error, we face what's ahead, staying true to the voice that never fails us. Keep learning. We were made for this. Made by lamplight and late nights, by salut and goodbyes, by questioning everything and feeding our curiosity, by testing our resilience, by finding our limits. By pushing forward and by breaking through, by finding a new way, our own way. We're made where ideas are built and built upon, where we come together and we rise above. We are made by McGill.